I had a meeting the other day with a gentleman that was sharing with me that he struggles with depression. I was empathizing with this and trying to share my story where during the pandemic, I also got a feeling of depression. And through that process, needed to find a way out of it, right? And so to me, my answer was resistance training or weightlifting. I took this weightlifting to kind of the next level in, I think, 2023, because on the 4th of July, I was visiting my home in New York State, and a gentleman who I had met when I was a young man, named Don Reinhout, was in a car accident and died. And he was famous. He was a youth ambassador for Chautauqua County. And this Don Reinhout in the 1978, 79 was winning these things called the World's Strongest Man competition. So he would go to Universal Studios in LA and he would compete against people like Magnus Magnuson. And this was before I was born. But about when I was in fifth grade, this guy, Don Reinhout, the world's strongest man, he came as a youth ambassador and talked to us. I think I was the Kiwanis Kid of the Month when I was like in fifth grade. And he did this thing where he did all these feats of strength, right? Like rip license plates in half and, or bend bottle caps, rip uh, phone books, if you can remember what those are, in half, and blow hot water bottles up. But one thing that I'll never forget, he had a harness and he put it around me, and he had a little leather kind of chew thing that was or bit that he could hold in his teeth, and it was connected to this harness, and he strapped the harness around me and he lifted me up, and I was a heavy 11-year-old. I was I don't know, probably like 150 pounds, and he lifted me up, and I just remember the smell of his breath and him grunting as he lifted me up with the strength of his back and his neck, and I was just that made a lasting impression. So when he died, there was a bunch of stories in the newspaper, the Post Journal in Jamestown, about his legacy, and it really had an impact on me. And I went back to his like powerlifting interviews, and basically he said if you can do squats, bench press, deadlift, and bent row, those four exercises, and you do them regularly and with progressive load, you're just going to get way stronger. And I started doing that, and I did. I got stronger than I'd ever been. So this is part one. Come back, and I'm going to talk about in part two the relationship between depression and metabolically how weightlifting helps with that.